Well, if you lot were hoping to get the right, if you lot were hoping to get the right intro for the Caribbean Cricket podcast, and the thing is, right? The thing is, I'm not even gonna. Santokie's backstage right now, wondering what the hell I was just doing. I'm not even gonna bring Santokie on. Let me try and find the right intro. Hold on 1 second, people. Let me. I'm not even bringing Santokie on to be part of that fast. Now, a proper podcast would have cancelled everything and done it properly and said, I'm so sorry. But let's just wheel and come again. 1 second. Hold on, I just realized I can't even wheel and come again because I've already started. Oh my God. Let me try do this and then bring Santokie on.
West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
Yes. Welcome to...
Man said West Indies up, put CCP down horrendous. You know what, Mash? I actually thought you made a new intro. I was like, "Wow, Mash has invested in a new intro." I just saw From Bromley with Love come up.
No other podcast would do that. Not even say sorry and just carry on like it was normal behavior.
Anyway, for those who you confused, we're not here to talk about Bromley Football Club. We're here to talk about, a great day for West Indies cricket. We play in India day 4. A lot of people didn't think it'd get past day 2. We're out here day 4, heading into day 5. West Indies piled on 390 runs, 3 man hitting half centuries. John Campbell, maiden century. Shea Hope, first century in 8 years. Everyone was piling on the runs. And we set India a total of 121 runs to win. They finished their close of play 63-1. Now, Mash, we'll get into the finer points. But first, your initial sort of feelings towards us almost scoring 400 in the subcontinent.
Yeah, let's start with the positives. To put this in perspective, because I love to reach for the stats. I should really have got this ready before we even went live. But to put this in perspective, let me find my stats from earlier on. Right. Since January 2024, and the reason why I'm using January 2024 is because there's a subsection of West Indian fans that always love to say things were better when we beat Australia, and there was no point in hiring Darren Sammy because he's no good. And so let me just give people some stats. Since January 2024, when we went on tour to Australia, this is the number of times the West Indies have passed 300 runs, right? So since we're talking about basically nearly 2 years, the number of times we passed 300 runs, we have done it 4 times, Santokie, 4 times in a total of how many innings? Let me just count them up. 10, 14, 18, 22, 28, 32 innings. We have passed 300 only 4 times in our last 32 innings, going all the way back to the Australia tour at the start of 2024. And I start like that, Santokie, because people have to understand something here. It's so rare. If I'd done the stat, how much did we make, Santokie?
390 all out.
Right. We nearly got to 400. We've passed 400, I think, once in the last 32 innings, basically in the last 2 years. So when people say to me things like, oh, it was better back when, no, it really wasn't. Do you know what else is an interesting stat, Santokie? In the whole of the 2023 to 25 World Test Championship cycle, we scored 2 centuries in the whole 2-year cycle. We've already equaled that in our second test series in this cycle. Now, of course, there's going to be people who are going to turn around and say, but, and this, that. But I'm just bringing the stats, Santokie. I'm just bringing the stats and bringing the facts. People can do with it what they want. Before this series started, you and I said, boy, if we can get a couple 50s, we're doing all right. Well, we're going to leave the series with 200s and 150. That's probably above anybody's wildest expectations.
Yeah, I think, especially if you told me at the beginning of the year, John Campbell and Shea Hope would be piling on centuries against India, who would have thought that? So first thing first, obviously, credit to the side. They've been taking a whole heap of criticism going into this test. We were wondering if they would even score 200. It looked doubtful, and we managed to pile on. Pile on for West Indies, 248 in the first innings, and then again 390. So a lot of positives to take with the bat. However, Mash, obviously, people are saying, we get a lot of comments, especially in the last 24 hours. You and Mash always negative. Like, you should respect the side, be positive. Obviously, as much as people want us to go around waving our flags at this, we still have to be realistic and pragmatic, right? India piled on 518 for 5, they declared. We've essentially been batting to save losing by an innings, right? So it's not as if we were competing head-to-head, bar for bar with India. It was essentially when our backs were up against the wall, we managed to put an innings together of substance. But in terms of the whole match as a whole, we've still taken licks. Put it this way, if it was a wrestling match, it would be like Brock Lesnar beating down on like Spike Dudley so bad and then starting to showboat, and Spike Dudley gets a quick roll up and almost gets a free count, basically. That's what it is. Like, India's own foolishness meant they were spent 200 overs on the field, basically, consecutively, because they were forced to follow on, and that just made them drop their heads. I do think, though, if we saw a lot of wickets tumble, particularly after Hope lost his wicket, right? We saw, I think it was four wickets we lost in a period of like 12 runs or something like that. If we had have managed to put on even 50 more runs and set India 178, I think it could have been an interesting chase, just from that psychological point of view. So that's one thing we could have capitalized on. But at the same time, as much as I'm positive about this particular innings, I'm not going to jump to any big conclusions about, West Indies have turned the corner. Everyone needs to watch out. World Test Championship final, because we've proven time and time again over recent history, we can have these moments of isolation where one or two players put together an iconic knock. It's just building that consistency. So I'm happy for today. I'm happy that we haven't been completely embarrassed in this test, but I'm still not going to be like, West Indies are actually back. Like, the golden generation is here. We still have to be realistic in our assessments.
I agree. And I'll go one step further than you. This test match was actually over on day one. Like, yes, and don't don't get me wrong. I actually genuinely applaud the side for the amount of fight they've shown and the fact that they've taken it to day 5 against all odds. And when India win tomorrow, we might yet lick down 2 more of them, and India might only win by 7 wickets. But the result of this test match was obvious on day 1. Yeah. So I'm not about to do the foolish West Indian thing of going, right, you see, now we're gonna, because we're like snakes and ladders. Yeah, we've gone up a ladder. We've gone from like 6 on the ladder up to 42. But guess what? We're about to roll the dice and go back down to 3 again. So no,
but it's true, because we did the miracle in Multan. Man, unks out here were celebrating, tears in their eyes. We done something in Pakistan, and then we had 27 all out against Australia, right? So we have ups and downs, and with West Indies, Mash, it's never like small ups and downs. It's as dramatic as it can get. So who knows what's going to happen in New Zealand? But as you said, the result was pretty much India batted us out of the equation on day 1, right? When they piled over 300 runs for whatever 2-3 wicket loss. And then it was just a matter of their own tactical decisions delaying this match further as it has been. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, like I said, I think heading into this test, I was 99% sure we'd be rolled over for under 200, right? I just assumed like that was the way it was going to go. So it's been a pleasant surprise. I think the best way to describe it's been a pleasant surprise. I'm happy to see John Campbell. It obviously meant a lot to him to get that maiden century, especially with all he's been through, being banned for a few years from the game. At some point, it probably crossed his mind that he might not ever play for West Indies again. So for him to get that redemption narrative was good. Shea Hope as well. The only 2 centuries he'd scored in Test cricket had been at Headingley. He'd kind of been boxed in as this guy that just performed in that one test, and there'd been a lot of hype about him. So for him to get that redemption of being recalled to the West Indies side, getting his first century, first one in India as well, and first one in 8 years, it was a big moment for both of them. And they worked together because, like I said, the odds were against us. Even though it was a lifeless pitch, I think we have to be realistic in that. There wasn't much doing for any of the bowlers. You could see Bumrah, Siraj were getting frustrated. Wasn't much turn for the spinners. You still have to capitalize on that. You can still give your wicket away. We all know all too well as West Indies fans, we give our wickets away a lot. So the fact they kept composed, kept disciplined, kept that concentration and managed to pile on the runs was a good thing to celebrate. And it'll be a memorable, in isolation, fans will remember those 2 centuries.
I think this is a good comment, right? Yeah. Because if people want this in perspective, if we were a stronger side, this would be a test match draw right now.
Yeah.
And I do think somebody put in the Discord, and apologies if you're watching this and you're in the Discord, and I've forgotten who put it in the Discord. I want to say it was LMB or something, but someone put in the Discord earlier on that actually, Santokie, this match encapsulates where West Indies cricket is at, right? Because naturally and rightly, we're all praising the fight in the second innings and going, yeah, we got 2 centurions, we got a half century from Justin Graves, etc. But as we've both said at the top, we're still going to lose by 8 wickets or still lose by 9 wickets. And so when people, because there will be, Santokie, there is, I guarantee it, there's going to be 1-2 uncles saying, you see, Caribbean Cricket Podcast, when you lot say that we're a second tier side, you don't know what we're talking about. But this was still a second tier performance, right? Yeah. It's easy to get carried away, but it's still, this is us. What we've seen in that second innings is us at our peak, right? Yeah. But we can't. The whole reason why we argue that we're second tier is because we can't do that consistently. That was, I repeat it again, that was only our 4th score over 300 in the last 32 test innings. We normally score under 200. So you're never going to hear from me going, yeah, and this proves something. No. What we want to see, and if we fast forward into New Zealand at the end of the year, we want to start. So in New Zealand, Santokie, we play 3 test matches, so 6 innings. If this is the start of any kind of dawn, we need to see like 2 scores over 300 in that series. Yeah. We haven't scored over. We haven't had a test series where we scored 2 scores over 300 probably since Zimbabwe. Yeah. Like that, it's hard for us. So. Yeah. True progress is doing a test series and getting 2 scores in a test series, even if it's a 2-match test series, 2 scores over 300, which proves that we're making a step forward. Otherwise, all this was, as you say, like a pleasant surprise. We're really happy for the guys. Well done, Campbell. Well done, Hope. Well done, Graves. Well done for the fight. But it means nothing if we can't build on it in New Zealand.
Yeah, like if you look at the top batters in the world, like let's take a Jaiswal, for instance, or like a Joe Root or any of those guys, they're consistently hitting centuries, right? Like what home and away, at some point within the 3-4 month period, they're going to hit another century. With West Indies, like I'm trying to think outside of Craig Brathwaite in terms of centuries, like let's take Campbell Hope today, Carl Mayers in Bangladesh, Tejaman Chanderpaul in Zimbabwe. These men will hit individual centuries, and we'll celebrate it like they should have a statue because it's so shocking that someone's got a century. Right, so we have moments of magical moments. We have magical moments, but then we don't, like you said. For us, we shouldn't be this shocked that a man scored a century, right? Even if it is in India, but the fact that it's so rare shows how we lack that consistency. And I don't know, Machel, like you said, we'd have to score. Well, I think either we'd have to bowl New Zealand out, or again put up substantial totals over 300 for us to say, all right, cool. Sammy's actually taking us on an upward trajectory because, like you said, for all we know, we go New Zealand, we get bowled out 55 in the first innings, right? So. This is West Indies' best performance in India since that drawn test in did Craig Brathwaite play in that test? He might have, but that was when we had Chanderpaul, Sarwan, Gale, all them, man. But yeah, I think it's been a resilient performance from West Indies, but we've been massively helped by the pitch and just by India's tactical decisions. And obviously, Mash, we talked about Hope and John Campbell, but obviously shout out Justin Graves as well. All done together 50 with the tail end. Captain Roston Chase scored a 40. Jaden Seals 32. So considering we said it in jest, but we also kind of meant it that it would be an achievement for man to hit a quarter century in this match. Considering all these guys managed to hit that quarter century. DJ Fathead, Machel, I totally disagree with you. You have to have a 2-tier system. It makes no sense. What we need is more test matches to get the big teams. Being in the second tier, you play lesser opponents. So I'll get in first. All right, factually, you're correct. In the second tier, you play lesser opponents. But they'll be saying that about us. We're a lesser opponent for a lot of, if we play Bangladesh or Sri Lanka. And why do we need more test match against the big teams? Just means more licks. Like we're not learning nothing. But Mash, I'll let you jump in because this was that.
Yeah, no, you've already said what I was just about to say. We've been playing against the big team since the year 2000. Ain't you lot tired of the licks? You ain't tired of it.
What's it called?
Santokie and I created Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Do you know how many licks we've seen? That's just since 2019.
Isn't it what's it called? Stockholm syndrome. Like we're taking licks and we're just asking for more licks, fam. Like why do we want these licks, bruv? I'm just trying to feel good about my day, bruv, and finally get when we beat Zimbabwe. and Tage hit double century, Craig Brathwaite 100. I was feeling good. I didn't care it was Zimbabwe. I was like, yeah, West Indies. I don't want to face licks like this. I don't mind living in a bubble where we're just playing second tier teams and racking up the wins, man. And then from that, after a year or two of that, yeah, if we're beating Zimbabwe, Ireland, Afghanistan, if every man's piling on runs, yeah, stat pad him, then at least we're going into these matches against India, Pakistan, or whatever in the first tier confident. At the moment, we ain't got the talent, we ain't got the confidence. There's a losing combination. We need to build up one side. So I've seen it on Twitter as well, from a lot of journalists saying, "Oh, this shows why there shouldn't be 2 tiers of Test cricket." I don't think it does because, like you said, we're not winning this Test match. We've been taking licks with it. India declared 518 for 5. At no point, anything after that sentence, you can't counter that. There's no point to argue this was a competition, right? They essentially threw the towel in and just allowed us, basically.
People just want us to be like dance. I'm going to say something which is going to offend the uncles, but you lot are actually the worst enemy of West Indies cricket because they would prefer us to be like dancing minstrels, just turn up, take licks and go, yeah, but we're West Indies. Yeah. No, the new generation, we're sick of it. We're sick of it. We didn't get the joy that the 60+ lot got. We didn't get to see West Indies dominate the world. All we've seen, they need to understand that even you and me, Santokie, who are at the upper end of the next generation after them, all we've really seen is licks. We ain't seen victories. We don't know what it means for West Indies to be dominating the world in Test cricket. All my sole Test cricket knowledge of West Indies from about 98 onwards is just licks away, licks, random win, licks, random win, more licks. Like that's literally been all I've seen for going on 25 years. Like I've had enough, cuz. I've had enough of it. But Santokie, there's some super chats. Let me bring one up. Mike Legendess says, a healthy Alzari Joseph and Shamar Joseph may have made this match more competitive.
Yeah,
agree or disagree?
I think when you look at our bowling was threadbare. I think if you took out Johan Lane and Anderson Phillip and put in a Shamar Joseph or Alzari Joseph, the results would have been, I don't think it would have been game-changing, but we would have been able to take more wickets. I just think they both have it in their locker to able to produce that ball that even on a lifeless pitch will be able to get wickets. So it would have made it a slightly closer contest. I don't think it would have been a massive change to the result, but we would have seen a better West Indies performance. I think going in with Jaden Seals and Johan Lane as our 2 pacers in the first test was always not going to really work out. And
I forgot Johan Lane played, That's how long ago that test was and how quick it finished that I forgot he played in the first test.
And then, go on. Got any other ones?
The next one is from a randomize who says, I hope you guys have all 3 fast bowlers against New Zealand.
Yeah. If we have Alzari, Shamar, Jaden in New Zealand with the swing conditions, I don't even know. I mean, if Kemar Roach isn't called up for New Zealand tour, which I doubt he will, that's basically him retired because he would suit those conditions with his swing as well. But I think if we go with the 3 pacers, and Holder as well, if Holder's willing to come back to the test side as well, I think we'll definitely take more wickets in New Zealand. Hopefully, can bowl them out like what we did to Australia. But I think obviously it will suit us if we have those 3 fast bowlers. But we got a lot of games to play before then. A lot of white ball games. There's white ball games against New Zealand. So we just got to hope that all 3 can remain fit ahead of that test series.
Osprey says 390 is the highest score West Indies have made in India since 2011. And again, that kind of puts in perspective. So what that effectively tells you, people, is we've been getting licked down in India for 14 years. Never mind not even winning a test series. I'm just about just straight licks in India since where we've just not even been remotely competitive, not put up any competitive score for 14 years, right? Pure licks. So miss me with the this proves anything. Like it's been licks after licks. But Santokie, before we go, there are a few subplots that we need to just discuss. Shea Hope. So Hope lost the gloves, or they decided to give Imlak the gloves in this test match. Imlak made, I want to say 21 and 12, and Hope obviously was moved up to just play as a pure batter, and Hope made 36 and 103. What happens now? Imlak gets given a run?
It's a bit. So I think in terms of being a glove man, Imlak's very good in the subcontinent. He seems to be a specialist in the subcontinent. He can predict the spin and bounce. I think that's obviously playing most of his first-class games in Guyana has helped him. But with the bat mash, I think we just need someone who can produce more with the bat. I think he's averaging less than 15 at the moment with the bat. we saw today he went off to a good start. I think he hit a 6 and then got bamboozled with the spin of Kuldeep Yadav. So the only thing is, Mash, it goes back to the point in terms of wicket keeping options. Then, what point do you go back to Josh De Silva? Josh De Silva's obviously got the runs in the regional game, but he's been dropped by Sammy, not played Test cricket this year. So it's between Imlak and Josh De Silva. Realistically, you'd go for. So
I would say on that is Imlak should get a run for me. If Hope's 103 has convinced Sammy to play Hope as a batter, I'm not mad at it. So be it, right? But then Imlak gets a run, but I had this discussion with MJ in the Caribbean Cricket Podcast Discord. And if you want to be in the Discord, please, people, you have to you have to become a patron. Head to www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket. And that's how you get the link for the Caribbean Cricket Podcast Discord. You have to sign up £2 a month, please support the movement. But I was discussing with MJ in the Discord this morning. The days of, in international cricket, picking a wicketkeeper just because they're good behind the stumps, those days are over because your wicketkeeper actually needs to make runs. So we have decided as selectors, not us, but West Indian selectors, that Josh doesn't do well enough with the bat, right? Never mind behind the stumps. He only averages 24, 25. That's the metric for Imlak, regardless of how good people think Imlak is behind the stumps. If he can't average 24, 25 or better than Josh, he's going to also lose his spot. Because what I said to people in the Discord this morning was, you think England are playing Jamie Smith because he's good behind the stumps? He's all right, but they're playing him because he's a destructive batter. Alex Carey's probably not the best glove man in Australia, but he's a destructive batter. Rishabh Pant is not a better, Indian fans about to cook me, but I think Jurul is probably a better wicketkeeper than Rishabh Pant. But Pant is one of the best batters in the game, right? So just being good behind the stumps doesn't cut it in 2025. You have to make runs. That's the currency.
Yeah, I think that it's basically the Adam Gilchrist trend, right? And then if we look in England, like Ben Foakes is the best glove man in England, probably. He doesn't get looking because Jamie Smith is an explosive batter. And we've seen, especially with Australia, Mash, we've seen like Alex Carey, when you've got an explosive player further down the order, batting with the tail end, who can just swing the ball, it can take the game away from the opposition, right? So that's what you're looking for. But do we have an explosive batter in the region, Mash? You can have
no, and this is the thing. So we don't have. I think Gang was talking about this. We don't have a talent pool or talent depth to even begin to have the discussion about explosive batter. But the point is, at the moment, and granted, Imlak's not had a run, but at the moment, I think his test scores. Then how many tests has he played? 2 or 3?
5 of it. No, 4. This is his 4th. Is it?
Is it his 4th?
No.
Wait, who the hell has he played against? One in Pakistan. Was it 2 in Pakistan?
2 in Pakistan because Silva got lost, and then did he play one against Australia or not? Yeah, he played.
I don't think did he?
Oh no, yeah, he just played 2. He just played 2 tests.
And then today's one is the 3rd one.
Yeah.
Right. So it's too early to make any overreaching point about Imlak, but as you said, his average is 15 at the moment. That's going to have to improve. Yeah. Granted, everyone in the top 6, their average is about 25, but the point is that will have to improve.
So let me ask you, Mash. We're saying we need a wicketkeeper who's attacking and who's ideally under 30. So what are you saying, Jewel Andrew in making his test debut in New Zealand, yeah?
Jewel Andrew will play Test cricket for the West Indies at some point. But boy, listen, I can't rule out anything from Sammy. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But what I would just say, there are 2 more super chats. So Riz Khalifa says, my batting order will be Campbell, King, Athenaeus, Hope, Hodge. Who's Hodge in for? Warwican. Imlak. Oh, that's a mad order. What on earth? Man's just said some random names, you know.
Why do you say Rastaman Jaden Sealed? I said Rastaman Jaden Sealed, you know.
Yeah, well, good team, Riz Khalifa. I don't know what that is, but cool. And then Anurag says, not sure if already discussed, but Hope doesn't keep for the first time and gets 100. Yeah. Surely he will play a specialist bat. I think Hope's
go on, Santokie. Yeah, I think Hope's going to be a specialist bat. I think if you're Sammy, you're not going to risk putting him behind the wicket again, just because you wanted to focus on batting. And it's interesting that Hope's obviously gained confidence under Sammy, obviously working together in a white ball setup team. But it's good for West Indies because Hope's always been talked about as a talented test player. So if he can build on this consistency, we saw what happened after Headingley. He didn't hit another century again. His form dipped. His average was below 25. So it's just about building that consistency. Going into the New Zealand series. But Mash, we'll talk. I guess there's a lot to talk about team selection and composition, but we'll do that when we review the actual test. It's going to finish tomorrow. Either way, day 5. You'd imagine India will wrap it up in the first session. They only need a handful of runs. They still got 9 weeks left, but anything can happen in cricket. So we'll be back. Final day, setting that 5 a.m. alarm. Can finally sleep in on Wednesday. But, this has been CCP as ever. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure you like this, We always get hundreds, thousands of people in our videos, but not all of you, man, are liking it. So like the video, make sure you share, subscribe to everyone. Shout out all the Indian fans who have, been commenting, taking part, engaging throughout this series. And we're on Instagram, X, TikTok, Blue Sky, Facebook. And most importantly, as you can see on the ticker below, patreon.com/carrycricket. Any little donation helps. That's been it from Machel. I've been Santokie. We'll see you again very soon, I should say, tomorrow to review the second and final test. Take care, everyone.
Yeah, let's hope the right outro plays this time. Take it easy, people.
West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.